Okay, people, this is going to be I always say this is going to be a quick one. It never turns out to be. So I'll just say I'll go as fast as I can. But it is going to be a very brief follow-up. It's kind of something I just forgot to put into something that I called, it's one of the ways of how I was attacked, meaning that they had taken my doctors away from me. And I explained kind of how that process went. What I forgot to actually include in there, so I guess this can be part 2 of that, if you will. And it's a huge part of it because it literally, when they do this to you, it causes you, even though you have other doctors you can go to, and I didn't have that. I had maybe 1 or 2 that had moved out from the area, but not far. So I had just happened to know where they went and or lived, somewhat close to me or both. And that's the only reason I knew to go to them, because literally they literally just took my doctors. I mean, all that's explained, I believe, and I believe I called it How I Was Attacked, Medical Termination, or How They Took My Doctors Away, something like that. Anyway, so this would be part 2 to that, to the medical termination part 2. I forgot to mention how they even took as much as possible, and they did a pretty, forgive my language, a pretty damn good job of it, which, again, immoral, unethical, illegal, unconstitutional, all that crap, forgive my language, I'm sorry, of taking my medication away from me. And no, they didn't, at this point, they didn't like physically come grab it. What they did is made it unavailable. So what they would do, they knew where I, of course, where I lived, where my place of dwelling was. So what they ended up doing was the places I would normally go to retrieve that, and it'd be like one or two. At that time, you weren't like locked into one place like I think in most states they do now, or at least some. I know they do here where I'm at right now, but they didn't lock you into one particular pharmacy. So, and it's just getting worse. So unless all this whole thing gets corrected, people, it's just going to get worse, and it's stupid. And in the meantime, if you've ever seen the movie Face Off, I think it was Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. I think that's it. If any of you recall the 2 golden guns, that box that Nicolas Cage's little brother would always bring him, that had the 2 golden guns in there, a wad of cash, his prescription medication, and then I even think he had chiclets in there. So, I mean, I hate to say it, but due to everything that I've been around and seen, I mean, that's not a far leap from the truth for these beings in the field. They make everybody else suffer, but, it's like those of us who have actual real pain. A lot of it which they have even caused, but they make sure, of course, their beings in the field have a very similar box. So they have, and I'm just basing this on what I've seen or been around during those times that I saw. They make sure pretty much their beings are well equipped and or supplied. Meaning besides all the weapons and all that stuff, yes, they always had these wads of cash and their little whatever treats, and they had, all the prescription medication they wanted, basically, not needed, wanted, and they didn't even need, you know, of course, they don't even need a doctor's note for it. If you're comparing this to anything like above the law kind of thing, yeah, they don't even need a, you know, someone who's honest and actually is in pain and needs their medication. Yeah, they not only make it difficult for them if you already have that in place. I mean, they didn't even have the respect enough to, you know, stealing everything that me and my family owned and had, you know, they actually have to go and, you know, take your doctors and make your medication unavailable to you. That's just, you know, the lowest of the low. There is no honor at all. No respect, no honor with these evil beings. I don't call them humans because they're not. They're too damn evil, forgive my language, too damn evil to be anything close to human. So anyway, but yeah, what they would do is make sure that the medication's not available in the places that you usually go get it. So let's say you have your doctor's prescription, but you don't have, well, place number 1, place number 2, none of them. And here's what I always heard. You know, we didn't, if you tell us that you're going to be coming every month for it, or next month, we'll be sure and order. Well, I did that, and that worked for only once per place. And I only, you know, took, I think 2 different types of medication, that was it, for, you know, legitimate pain, not, you know, what they use it for. But what they do is after that, then I would get, well, we have it back ordered, it hasn't come in yet. So you have to start going and looking, because they make this, you know, false shortage, right? So then you have to start going and looking to the places you haven't been in hopes that they have it. And before you know it, you're going, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 miles away from your home just to fill a prescription. It's ridiculous. And this is just one of the other things compared to all the other stuff that they put me through and still going through that they did, which is they actually make your medication not available for you, no matter who it affects in the area. If it's, or they'll simply just say, you know, don't fill for this one or whatever, you know, but they just basically shut it off to everybody because let's just say, I know they did that because I know they did that. There was no special instructions of just don't fill it for this particular individual, whatever. And I know that because I just know that, let's put it that way. So that's just the part that I left out was, besides even taking the doctors, they actually, and eventually ended up taking, you know, even my medication, which was just, you know, how much more cruel can you get? And like I said, in the places I would usually go to, all I heard was, oh, it's on back order, it's on back order, we have it on back order. And that continued for as long as I remained in that particular area. And of course, as soon as I left, of course, there was no problem again in getting whatever because, you know, let's just say I reconfirmed that too, just for my own curiosity. All right, so that was part 2 of that, and I'll be back and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.